Hey, all, welcome in to S2S Colorado Live. I'm your host, Manny. As always, really appreciate y'all joining us here on a Friday evening. Yep, game day eve, right? Please make sure to follow me on X at Manny_303 and Instagram at 303_Manny. Catch me on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever it is that you get your podcast from. Any contributions to the show would be much appreciated. Venmo is at Manny S2S, right there on the bottom as well. And also something, we've been, that I've been promoting here is on Rebet. I'm going to put this in the chat, but if you use this link or the code VOCFBCU, again, which I will also put in the chat, you guys will get a 100% match up to 100% purchase match up to $100. So if this is something you're into, make sure to check it out. Give them a try over there at Rebet, but make sure that you guys use this code to get that promo. Also, just want to say, if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Again, that's 1-800-GAMBLER. So on today's show, we have some, some good things to talk about today. Right, we have our showdown with Iowa State. Kind of curious to see what the plan is there. Ralph report, news and notes, obviously, recruiting. So just a couple updates, housekeeping things. Big 4-star wide receiver visiting this weekend here in Boulder. So we'll see how that goes. And then again, like I talked about, 3 keys to the game. So let's jump right into the Ralphie report, news and notes. So if you haven't heard today, transfer safety Terrence Love, he is no longer with the team. He was coming out of high school, a 3 or 4-star recruit, depending on the site that you use. Transferred him from Auburn this past offseason. He appeared in the first game this season versus Georgia Tech, has not touched the field since. So kind of I don't want to call it a big blow, anything like that, but it is kind of seeing where this thing ends up, I guess. But no longer with the team. Not sure what's going on there. I did see something somebody posted, I can't remember who it was on X, but someone close to the team said, don't be shocked, more to come. So again, hopefully that's not a bad thing. But it just kind of has you wondering about this season and kind of what we have been hinting at a little bit. About the locker room issues, the leadership problems, and maybe they missed on the portal for some of these players this past year. So yeah, just something to think about. Yeah, Humble Texan said, I heard they gave Ralphie a new nickname. Yeah, Brandy. So there it is, keeping up with the alcohol nicknames. So pretty cool. And yes, she runs hard. So that has been exciting to bring that back. Ralphie running really, really hard. So absolutely love that. Nickname is Brandy. So just something for us to keep our eyes on, some fun with that. But yeah, that is phenomenal. Shedeur Sanders. So he's been named QB2 behind Dylan Gabriel, which is, I don't know why it took so long. I didn't know what their plan was. We talked on Wednesday about this, but he'll be the backup quarterback, and it will not be long before he takes over that spot, in my opinion. And it is going to be hard to take it from him because, again, like we know the way Shedeur plays, the way Shedeur works, he's going to be a phenomenal quarterback in this league. So really excited for that. We talked a little bit about the Browns' incompetence this past Wednesday. And again, it is, something I didn't even think of, though. But, I was sitting here yesterday, and I was like, man, they are really dumb, the Browns. They went into camp and gave Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett the majority of the reps during camp this summer. And neither is on the roster at this point. Both are gone. Both have been traded. Kenny Pickett was traded before the season started to the Raiders, which was unbelievable. Like, why would, if you knew you were going to move him or had any kind of idea you were, what was the point of giving him those reps, right? When either Dylan Gabriel or Shedeur could have been taking those, and then you go ahead and move Joe Flacco. So now it is, here they are, right? So again, this is one of the worst possible handling of quarterbacks I've ever seen that I can think of. With that time to prepare them, with all of those things, it's a little bit mind blowing to me as to what what the plan was. I'm not sure. You just kind of sit back at this point and nod your head, shake your head, but it is, yeah. G says, what a wasted training camp. Yeah, absolutely. Like, it is. I don't know what their plan was. I don't understand if Stefanski's trying to make a point, or the GM's just, almost like feels like that they're money balling, right? When we seen the movie that he started, Billy Beane started trading the players away because the manager wouldn't play the players that were supposed to play. And it's kind of makes you wonder a little bit about what is going on there. And in my opinion, I don't think Kevin Stefanski has a lot of time left there as the head football coach there in Cleveland. So something's going on there. It is an absolute waste of a training camp, absolute waste of trying to get these two guys ready, because again, you drafted these two not to sit, right? Like, I still don't understand this, but it is just all around bad handling. And this is why Cleveland constantly finds himself at the bottom of the league in win-loss and successfulness and all of these different things. They are a disaster. So my hope is that whatever it is, we start seeing Shedeur play, but it is really, really bad the way they handled this situation. Both are gone, and now it almost makes you wonder, is the GM now just trading away players? Because it's like, dude, you have to play Shedeur Sanders. So it just gives me that Moneyball feel to it a little bit. I feel like I've heard this story before. Bad QB handling. Yeah. Yep, for sure. Yeah, that's what I thought when Flacco was trading Moneyball. Yeah, I didn't even, as I was saying it out loud, it just made sense. I was just like, oh, this feels like Moneyball a little bit. You're like, the GM's going to have to trade everybody to get Shedeur on the field. And now it's like, well, maybe at this point, maybe you're going to have to fire him, the head coach at this point, because it is, yeah, I can't think of another situation where it was handled this poorly. Cleveland, we knew they were not going to, be a good team. It was a developmental year. And now at this point, like, to be completely honest, like, not rooting against Dylan Gabriel, but, in my opinion, there's no way, that size of quarterback is going to work in the NFL. He doesn't have a trait that stands out where, you're just like, well, he does this well. He does this, one of those things where like he does this at an elite level. Not one of those stand out, right? Right, with Shedeur, the ball placement, right? Reading the defense, pre-snap movement, right? All of those things we know Shedeur does well, and he does not turn the football over. So, just off the top, those are the elite skills that Shedeur brings. And again, I hope nothing but the best for Dylan Gabriel, but it is still mind-blowing that there's really nothing he does, in my opinion, that is elite. He does things good to very good, but nothing great. So just a situation for us to all monitor. But again, it's not long before Shedeur starts to get on the field there. So just keep your eye on that one. Now, recruiting. So big recruiting, big recruit coming in this weekend. So Buffs have 4-star wide receiver Damani Warren. He'll be visiting this weekend to Folsom. So probably already there today. Here on Friday, if not yesterday. So this kid is 6'4", 210 pounds. He is ranked as the number 21st wide receiver in the class of 27 and 121st ranked player overall. So again, still trying to get Juju those weapons. Again, like he has two that we know of in the same class, and Quanell Farrakhan and Q. And then he also, now, you add a player like Damani Warren in there. That would be huge. So real excited for that. Let's see what happens there. So I'm pretty excited for that. But Damani Warren, someone to keep an eye on. He'll be there this weekend. Fully expect him by the time he comes out to move into a 5-star player. Just based, he's not done growing. So again, 6'4", 210 pounds. He'd probably put on another, he'll probably grow another inch or two, probably put on a couple more pounds. 5-10 pounds by the time he's a senior, and going to have breakout year as well. So Damani Warren is one to keep an eye on. We talked about this on Wednesday. Kavian Bryant, the number 1 overall QB in the 27 class, he set a commitment date to November 1st. So he visited Colorado versus BYU a couple weeks ago. And he was left the visit right after, the Buffs blew a lead again, left the visit and spoke highly about Colorado. And, if I got to do a crystal ball, that's where I would crystal ball him to right now. It feels that way. This would be the heir apparent to Juju. So we'll see what that looks like again. What is going on with the quarterback situation? I feel like that might scare away one of these top recruits, right? Because the way that Caden is playing right now he's not playing well, right? Costing the team games is, to be completely honest about it. So then you plug in, you get Kavian Bryant. What gives him the thought that he would start, right? So again, it's just something to think about, just something, throw it out there again. I don't know any of this is fact, but just would be a huge get. And again, that'd be who follows up after Julian Lewis. But Kavian Bryant, someone to keep an eye on. He has a commitment date about 3 weeks from now. So check him out if you haven't watched any film on him, but dude is an absolute baller. So that would be huge to, Buffs land 2 5-star quarterbacks in, a 3-year span. So really cool stuff. So they call DG the computer. Okay, who's DG? Oh, Dylan Gabriel. Yeah, I don't know. I don't wish anything poorly upon him. I just hope he does. I hope he does very well, to be completely honest about it, but there's nothing that he does great though. So now let's jump into the game for tomorrow. So Iowa State versus Colorado, right? I don't want to call it that. Let's just jump into it. Iowa State versus Colorado. Yeah, it is. This is a weird game. It's a weird one to pick. I know I checked. The spread was at 4. I'm not sure where it's at. I haven't been paying attention to that much. I'm not a huge, I don't bet a ton. So don't know where that game's at right now. But it's about 4 points. 4-point underdog seems about right. But, the 3 keys to the game. So this is one that I struggled with. The predicament of the 2 starting cornerbacks being out for the season, right? We seen last week, Cincinnati, they looked good last week. Cincinnati roughed them up. That game was not as close as 8 points, right? Like the 38-30 final. But the Buffs, they should have no problem running the football against this team. Last week, Cincinnati as a team ran for 260 yards versus this defense, versus the Iowa State defense. Again, Sorsby is not as athletic as Caden Salter. He had 64 rushing yards last week out of the quarterback position. Evan Pryor, the running back, had 111 yards on 10 carries. Tyree Walker had 89 rushing yards on 14 carries. So I do think the Buffs should be able to run the football on this team. And again, there's, Michael Welch or Dallin Hayden should have a really big day tomorrow, depending on who it is. And if we don't have a 100-yard rusher tomorrow, I don't know when it's going to happen again this season, or if it's going to happen, I guess I should say. Not had a single 100-yard rusher in the Coach Prime era, again, which is mind-blowing to me. But then, you start to think about it a little bit. They don't have a back that is, the bow cow. The bow cow. Yeah, so the bow cow back. And that needs to, I was never a fan of, when you do split 3 or 4 running backs in a game. I don't think it ever gets to the point. I don't think it ever gets to the point where somebody cannot get in rhythm, in my opinion. They can't get there. It's just, it doesn't feel right. I feel like they need to stick with one running back, let them get the majority of the carries. Then you have your third down running back come in, or, to spell, right? Those kind of things. So my hope would be to let one of these backs get in a rhythm tomorrow. Get in the rhythm, get going, take off, get a feel for the game, let them go, let them eat. And again, based off of last week, the running back that looks like it looks like it's Dallin Hayden, man. He got that ball and he was running hard. He looked fast, lowering his head, wasn't trying to get out of bounds, was catching it out of the backfield. I do think he should be the one that gets to I do think he should be the one that gets the majority of the carries tomorrow. I believe if they do that, he'll go over 100. Let's say he gets 20 carries, he gets over 120. That's what I'll say for tomorrow. But again, it is sticking with the run game, which this Colorado team does not do in the second half. They don't stick with it. They think for some reason, up by double digits, that they need to go throw the football. Again, that's not the case. Like, I get you want to get Omarion and all those guys involved, but you do have to, you got to get that running game going. You got to, if it's working, don't go away from it. If you go a series and run it 3 straight times, obviously you don't want to run it straight into like a brick wall, right? Those kind of things, but do it at that point. If you have to punch, you have to punt. Like, there's no reason to be throwing the ball or getting crazy with it. You're up by double digits and they start throwing the football for some reason, right? So I'm just curious. Just this is what needs to happen tomorrow. Now, this team does need to throw the ball. Okay, so I will say that though. So this is where I'm tough. This is a tough key to the game here because they should be able to throw the football against this team. Again, both Iowa State's backup cornerbacks are out for the season. Buff should have no problem, right? Omarion should eat tomorrow if they really want to. Now, the problem with that is you have Caden Salter that, as we all know, he's been struggling this year. It has been a struggle for him. Again, I don't know if he's going to find his way. I typically say, what are we, 2-3, 5 games into this? With the summer, a spring ball, I don't know if it's going to get better as far as the passing game goes. I said it last week. I'm not even going to touch on that again, but this is it for Caden Salter. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like there's a very, very long leash right now with Caden. So their prime's given him. So again, I don't know what the plan is, but again, I also think that Julian Lewis, Caden Salter's not doing anything that separates him from Julian Lewis at this point. And again, as a pure passer, Julian Lewis is better, and Julian Lewis can run just as well, or I guess statistically, as Caden Salter has been doing. So again, there's not a lot that separates them. Let's see. G said, kind of feel like this is CU's game to lose after hearing about this year's Iowa State team. It is, and I'm with you there, G. Like, it is. It almost feels like every game was that way, right? Like, just about outside of that at Houston game, which again, started Ryan Staub again. I wouldn't have done that, right? I would have, personally, I would have started Julian. I think that's been long overdue. You guys know how I feel about that, but this is what it is, right? At this point, I feel like they should be, they should have 3 more wins, right? Right? They should have beat Georgia Tech. They should have beat BYU, and they should have beat TCU, right? They should be, what is that, 5-1 at this point, right? Heading into this game versus 2-3 at this point, right? Or is it we're 2-4, 2-4, right? So 5-1 versus 2-4. And yeah, you can run on them, pass on them. I mean, what else could see? I know this is one of those get right games, right? That you think that it should be, but again, this team can't close. They not close, and again, we'll jump to that one for one of my other keys to the game. Now, 2, they need to get pressure, and coverage has to be good. Now, you are still playing Rocco Beck, right? He's not this all-world NFL talent, anything like that, but he is a very good college football quarterback. Last week against Cincinnati, he threw for 314 yards and 2 touchdowns. He is still a really, really good quarterback. Really good player. They still have weapons, right? Chase Soul, number 0. Yes, former Buff. I think, G, you brought him up last week. It is tough seeing him do that. But yeah, he's a huge playmaker for this team. Second on the team in receiving. that is somebody that needs to be covered. So whomever it is that they come out and start with, and again, I do not think it should be Tayon Parks. Tayon Parks has struggled this year. Opposite of DJ McKinney, it has been this year has been a struggle on defense, right? Like that other corner, right? Opposite of DJ McKinney. Preston Hodge he started to show up again. He's starting to look like the old Preston Hodge that we were used to last year. Starting to make plays, tackles. He showed up these last couple weeks, which again, I think part of the reason why we did not see what's his name? TCU's quarterback. I'm drawing a blank here at this point, but Josh Hoover rip him apart last week. So Preston Hodge has been stepping up. DJ McKinney, I think he's played well. Again, I know that first round draft grade on him has slid a little bit. Looks more like a late second to early third round guy. But again, all the tools are there for DJ. And it's that corner opposite of him that they got to figure out. And again, RJ Johnson is out again. I don't even know if he's going to return this year. Again, in college, they don't have to put why the player is out or how long they are out for. So we'll see what that looks like. So I'm going to probably butcher this name. Brett Eskills, number 9. He's the leading receiver on this team on Iowa State and Beck's primary target. I would just have DJ McKinney shadow him all game. And again, as much as we want to say stop playing zone, stop playing so much man-to-man and play more zone. Yeah, that's not going to happen. So I would just go put DJ McKinney on him and say, that's your guy. That's your guy all game. Don't get off of him, right? Like we seen last week. Who was it? Our guy, the receiver. He was hurt. Not Barnes. It was I can't even remember. TCU's receiver. And they put Tayon Parks on him and on that fourth down play, and he smoked him to the end zone, caught a touchdown. It was that simple. So, right, it was that sluggo call, sluggo audible. So we will continue. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see what they come up with this weekend tomorrow. But again, I'm nervous for this game and for these corners. And again, I would just put DJ McKinney on Brett, number 9. All right, so Iowa State takes a lot of sacks, right? Rocco has taken some hard hits this year already, so you should be able to get to him. Yeah, they should be able to. And again, I would think London Merritt should get a ton of reps this week. I shouldn't even say reps, tons of burn this week. He looks unstoppable, man. Like he is playing out of his mind. This is I always thought he was a 5-star recruit when coming out of IMG over there. I would say play London Merritt a ton this week. Let him get after Rocco Beck. And then I would even mix in Alex McPherson, right? Those two wreak havoc. Those two ruin a whole game plan. So I would get them. I get them on the field more at this point. Those two need to touch the field more. They need to be out there wrecking havoc on the opposing team. And again, we'll see what this looks like. But I'm pretty excited for those two guys' future with the Buffs. And yeah, they should be able to get pressure on him. I don't know the amount of sacks that Iowa State has given up. I just know that that's part of their struggle this year with sacks and protecting Rocco Beck. So yeah, thanks for bringing that up, G. Now, last key to the game that I have is killer instinct. They have to finish the game. This team is lacking a killer instinct beyond belief. Right? Last year it was this team would start slow. This year it's a complete opposite. They start fast and something happens in that second quarter. Like midway through the second quarter, this team starts to get comfortable or, I heard people say, well, it's when the scripted plays come off. Yes, that's true. And maybe that is part of the problem. Just continue running the same things. Like, I always say this, that people try to make this game more complicated than it is. It's football. If it's working, continue running it. Who gives a shit if they're going to, right? Who gives a shit if they adjust? If they adjust, continue running and see if they can stop it. And again, it's like the Buffs see and they're like, oh, no, we got to start passing. No, you don't. No, you don't. That's where you guys have gotten in trouble these first couple, those 3 double-digit leads that you guys have built. this can't happen anymore. These blowing leads have to stop, right? They were up 10-0 on Georgia Tech, 14-0 on BYU, and TCU 14-0 against TCU. You can't keep blowing leads like this. And again, not rooting for this by any means, but you continue blowing leads like this is when people start losing their jobs. And again, this is and again, sometimes it's warranted, right? I know how a lot of us feel about Pat Shurmur and this and that. To me, it's more of a case right now with what's going on there of Caden Salter missing plays out there. Now, some of the stuff that Pat Shurmur decides to run, it does scratch your head, but I think any team that it is that you follow outside of Colorado, right, they're going to be complaining about all of these different things, play calling. Ultimately it comes down to the execution, right? And again, as we know, Caden has not been executing the offense, right? It looks good for a little bit, and then he tries to escape pockets that are not broken. He doesn't climb the pocket. So again, I don't understand it, I guess, to this extent. I don't know what else Pat Shurmur is supposed to be calling at this point. And again, he's had some moments, right? Even, that first game against Georgia Tech, trying to make Caden Salter a passer. That is not who he is. That is not who he's ever going to be. That is not who he has ever been. So that's just, we'll continue to monitor, continue to see how this goes. But if you continue to blow leads like this, heads are going to start to roll. People are going to start losing their jobs. So part of the thing too is when they're up big, when the Buffs are up big, with those double-digit leads, take the air out of the ball. Start running the football. This is what this team should be built around. Get creative with the running game, right? Like we've seen a couple of those, right? Right? They brought Yo-Yo. He comes in and those kind of plays. But now that's on film now. Everybody knows what you're doing at this point. So, again, just get more creative. Start running that football. Give it to – and, again, I forget about Draylon, but that dude needs to be touching the football 15 to 20 times a game. And Dallin Hayden, he should be touching it, almost, 15 times a game. But if Dallin Hayden were to get 20 carries or even Draylon, one of those dudes is going over 100 for the game. So, in my opinion, they have to stick with the running back. Let them get in the groove of game. Let them get it filled out and let them take over. But once you build those double-digit leads, you need to run the football, take the air out of the ball, pound the rock, and make it, let that clock continue running. There's no reason to continue putting it up in the air. And again, as we've seen, bad things happen. Bad things happen when the Buffs put it in the air right now, right? Caden is starting to turn the ball over, starting to press, starting to lose mechanics, that sidearm delivery, all of those different kind of things. I've only seen one person able to throw the ball sidearm accurately, and that's Phillip Rivers, right? Like I'm trying to think of another. I can't. I know that here and there, like you'll see Mahomes do it, Rich Gannon used to do it, just to make some of those throws, but it wasn't a constant thing that was that they did regularly, like the way they threw the ball. Yeah. Catch. He's always open in the. I started to wonder that because I was like, throw him the ball. When we were there against, was it Wyoming? Just throw it to him. He's open, or was it BYU? I think it was BYU. I don't remember what game it was, but he was open. I mean, I don't know. Throw him the football. See what happens. Give him a carry. For kind of like how Alabama does. Give him a carry and see what happens. Like, I think they just need to be more creative in the run game as well, if this is the type of offense that they're going to continue to run. So we'll continue to see what this team does tomorrow. I don't want to call it a big game like we talked about. They do have to find a way to become bowl eligible, right? And then we know the schedule isn't the kindest moving forward because we go right after this bye week, they go to Utah, so have to go into Salt Lake. And again, hopefully they're ready for that because Utah's no joke. They will punch you in the mouth. Salt Lake City going to Utah is a tough place to play. So again, that's going to be a tough game. Then they get Arizona at home. They go to Morgantown to play West Virginia. Arizona State comes to Boulder, and then they finish up at Kansas State. So we'll see what this team does, but You have to essentially go, what is it, 4-2, 4-2 in these remaining 6, and this is one of the toughest parts of the schedule that they're in. And again, the Buffs just had a tough schedule this year. There's no doubt about that. So if they can somehow go 4-2, find themselves in a bowl game, build for next year, that'd be fantastic. That'd be a great outcome. And, all of us were like, yeah, run the table, right? We'll continue to believe that until they don't, right? Until November 29th, right? Which is the last game, or I guess November 30th. We'll continue to think that. And again, that'd be great if they could run the table. Like, as of right now, they've shown nothing that suggests that. They've shown nothing to suggest that they can, win a football game against a good team right now, right? They find different ways to lose games. So hopefully this game goes well tomorrow. Hopefully they can get some, I don't want to say things figured out, but win a football game. It's, it's felt like last win was against Wyoming, September 20th. It feels like that was like 2 months ago at this point. Just the way things have been going for the Buffs. So, because right now their only 2 wins are over Delaware and where are we at? Wyoming. Again, not the best, not the most quality of wins. So hopefully they can go beat Iowa State this weekend, number 22 Iowa State going into Boulder, and get some momentum heading into this bye week, get healthy, get on the same page, and man, let's get this thing turned around. I will say this though, if you see Caden out there throwing 2 interceptions in the first half, this is probably it. My hope would be that they go to Julian. Again, I don't know how many open wide receivers they're going to let him miss before some things change. I'm not sure on that, but my hope is that Buffs come out and win. Caden plays great. This team plays great, forces some turnovers. Killer instinct, finishes the game, get some pressure, get some sacks, force some turnovers, and, the coverage is a lot better. And again, it's run the football, get it back over 100 yards, or even Caden Salter. Someone needs to be over 100 yards. And again, I know that they have talent at running back, but they also don't let a running back be in there and get some carries and get used to it, and get in the flow of the game. G says, do you like Shermer's scheme? Not a fan. Do you even think QB recruits seriously consider the scheme? I wonder sometimes. It's hard to say with him, right? Like, this is going to sound crazy. What is his scheme, right? We've seen so many different looks this year that what is the scheme? Like, his passing concepts, no. You have receivers that can take the top off the defense, and then you run a ton of curl routes, right? Curl underneath, drags, hitches, all those kind of things. So no, not the passing style of it. Again, I don't like it. It forces you to go on these long drives throughout the game where Colorado Buffalo, they're not like they shouldn't be a possession style of offense with the weapons they have. They should be a big play, big scores, all those kind of things. And that's not the case, right? So the run game, I think the run game has been fine. They just have to stick with it. But the scheme, I think the running game and the scheme for the run game is good. I will say, though, they need to, and it has looked like these past couple of weeks that they've been running a little bit more power gap scheme versus the zone. But you still need to run zone blocking, whether that be outside or inside zone, right? You have and that power. When you see Yaya in there, it typically is a power play, right? They're running a power gap run at that point. So to an extent, there are things that can be improved for sure. I think they need to start taking more deep shots. They need to make the defense honest. That defense has to be stretched. You have to take shots to keep them there because they're just loading the box on Colorado. And again, I think part of that reason is because they know that Caden's not going to beat them with their arm. He's not going to beat them with his arm. They know they want to run the football. They know Caden's going to struggle reading the defense and throwing it. So again, I don't know what you do at that point because there are wide receivers open a lot of the time. Caden just misses them. Yeah. I mean, last week should have got pulled, right? Like, I guess as much as I want to say like this is it, like if things go south, I don't know. I really don't know. Like last week they were up 14-0. He gives momentum completely back at halftime. Throws a pick. Well, throws a pick before that. Well, the 3 picks, I should say, in the first half. Like, gave back all momentum that the Buffs had built at that point. So I don't know if you're going to pull him. Like, heck, last week you could have even pulled him for Staub at that point, right? Again, Staub might have given him the better chance to win last week. And again, I do think Caden's the better player. But when you have to throw the football, that's not it. Caden's not going to get that. Caden's not. This is not who he is. He's not that type of quarterback. So again, I think we're just, like I said on Wednesday's show, we're prolonging. They are prolonging the Julian Lewis era. They are stunning a little bit of growth here. And again, I know that they want to protect him. I know they want to do all these different things with him, right? But at the end of the day, man, he's a ball player. Julian is, he's going to be a top 10 pick one day. So just what it is, right? How many games do they need to win for a bowl? I thought they needed to win 5 minimum. So they have, what are they at? They should be 6-6 because they play 12, so they have to win 6. You just have to be at 500. Let me just double check here because they're 2-4 with 6 remaining. Yeah, 6-6. So you have to be 500 now to make a bowl game. Before you'd have to have a winning record, so you'd have to be 7-5. They switched it because now there's like Snoop Dogg Gin and Juice Bowl and all these different types of bowl games now, which don't get me wrong, that's a cool bowl, but you have to be 500. So in the Buffs case, they'll play 12 total games. They have to be 6-6. So that is, again, finishing 4-2. I see 2 wins possibly with West Virginia and Arizona. It's hard to find if they can beat Iowa State. There's 3 of them, and possibly they can go into Kansas State and to Manhattan and beat Kansas State just because of the way Kansas State has been playing. They're kind of the same. Yeah, that is because I think some teams decline bowl games that are 6-6 because it's just whatever it may be. So you will see that. You will see the 5-7, but to actually be bowl eligible, you need to be 6-6. I doubt Colorado would, the way Prime is, old school, that kind of thing. I don't think at 5-7 you would see Prime acceptable a bowl game for the Buffs. So, I would assume they would want to be in off-season mode and get ready to go and get reloaded for the following year. But yeah, you will see that just because other teams decline bowl games, whether it be 6-6, 7-5, whatever it may be. So, and again, you can turn down a bowl game, right? Like even if you're, last year the Alamo Bowl, the Buffs could have declined that bowl game. And again, obviously you don't do that, but they could have, and all, with rules and everything in place, they could have declined that. So, but yeah, 5-7, you will see teams in there again, just like what we talked about. So, but again, just to be bowl eligible, the Buffs have to finish 4-2. Tough sledding ahead for them, and and it would be really cool if they could win out. But 4-2 feels iffy. 3-3 feels doable. 2-4 seems like that's where it's headed. So again, just something for us to watch. I hope they can go 4-2, close out, be bowl eligible. Yeah, but they would get like 15 extra practices in another game that doesn't count toward redshirts. Yeah, and that's a benefit of it as well. Gee, I see both sides of it. So I don't know. I don't feel like Coach Prime would accept it. I don't know, basing that on absolutely nothing, just I guess based on the old school nature of it. But it, like you said, though, it is 15 extra practices. I do know that maybe with the health issues this year, he may decline it if they were to get to 5 wins, 5-7. A couple teams decline the bowl games and they get invited. I mean, it'd be a big draw. Obviously, there's a ton of revenue in it for Colorado, but yeah, I don't know. That's tough though, right? Like us as fans want to see as many games as possible. So, I mean, I'd be all for it. If it were me, yeah, absolutely, we'd go play. Just because, right? We love Buff football. We love watching it. So, yes, technically, yep. Juju could play like 5 games this year and still keep redshirt if that's the bowl game. Yep. absolutely could. And I believe even if somehow they would make the Big 12 title game, right? Like, not like, let's say future years, right? Yes, the Big 12 title game won't count as a game either. So that counts as like a postseason game. So you could play in the postseason, college football playoff, all these things, and not lose your red shirt as well. So there is that. So yeah, just something to think about, and that would be cool to see Juju Lewis play first start in a bowl game, right? That would be pretty cool, actually. So, and again, it wouldn't count towards his red shirt, and I wouldn't get too caught up in the Julian Lewis red shirt thing. He's going to be at Colorado maximum 3 years. So, whether he redshirts or not this year, he's going to be here for 2 more years after this. Again, just the talent that young man has, he'll be going pro after, the minute he's eligible. You'll probably see him declare for the draft. He's that good, and he is going to be that good to where he'll be a first round pick in whatever it is, and in my opinion, a top 10 pick. So I would say I wouldn't worry so much about that, though. Yeah. Although, at what point do you say Juju's making over $1 million, so screw the red shirt? Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the red shirt anyway. Like I just talked, I just wouldn't worry about it. It is not. I know mine is a little bit ahead of the chat. So what I've noticed is you guys will type something, and I'll already be moved on. So I'll go back a little bit, but just all the things that we talked about, the red shirt is not. I wouldn't worry about it. Like, I really don't think Julian Lewis is going to be here, for 4 or 5 years or whatever it may be. I really, truly believe he'll be here for 3 years. It's a 3-year window here. And again, you have 2 years after this. And again, I think that's why it's so vital to get Kavian Bryant in here in the 27 QB class, the number 1 overall quarterback, like we talked about earlier. You get him in here, and then you have your next guy behind Julian, right? He sits 1 year behind Julian, and he's ready to go the following year. So if they can build something like that, stagger. This sounds crazy, right? At Colorado, stagger your huge quarterback commitments. Yeah, that's something I never thought I would say. But if you could stagger them, right? You don't need one every single year. Get one every other year, right? That way you can stagger them a little bit, and we're not in a position where we are at right now. And again, this is Prime still trying to build this thing. But I really wish they would have just let Juju take over day one. I don't think Caden Salter was needed. So yeah. So anyways, we'll see what that looks like. But yeah, there's the Ralphie report for the week. Recruiting, like we talked about, big time wide receiver visiting into Colorado from I believe he's from Vegas. Yeah, he's from Vegas. Kavian Bryant set for November 1st, and those 3 keys to the game that are huge. So again, if they can do these things, I think the Buffs can win this weekend, right? And again, I have not checked the spread, which I'm gonna do right now to see if that line has moved at all. It was at 4 most of the week. Again, like I said, I don't bet a ton. But let's see. So the line is at, okay, so 3. So -2.5. So 2.5, right? So 3-point underdogs at this point. So the line shifted a little bit. Money looks like it is on. Let me see. So 88% of the bets right now are on Iowa State to win the game. So again, do with that what you will. My hope is that the Buffs can get up by double digits early and take the air out of the ball and have a killer instinct. Blow them out of the water at that point. There's no reason to let them hang around. As we have seen, I should say, is you let a team hang around, they're going to beat you. They're going to get you. So, but yeah, post-game show tomorrow. I'll be live after the game. Yeah, I think we'll, again, those are pretty quick. So about 15, 20 minutes just to go over the keys to the game and what we saw, what I saw, I should say, at the game. But yeah, just keep your eyes open for that. That'll be tomorrow after the game. So again, home games, we're there at the stadium. So I will, once we get back to the parking lot, back to where setup is, we'll go live from there, hold the post game show. And again, I know we hadn't been able to these last couple games just because it is those 8:15 kickoffs are awful. This one tomorrow is at 1:30. So yeah, post game will air live right after the kickoff tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. And yeah, run Ralphie run. Yeah, I know they have Chad Brown doing it. I don't know if you guys, if you've seen it, but they have Chad Brown doing it on the scoreboard before the game. I think they posted it on X or one of the social media websites. But yeah, that plays before Ralphie runs out. So yeah, very cool, very cool. And no problem, man. Appreciate you tuning in. Everyone else that did, again, like I always say, this is the show. This show cannot happen without you all. Thank you all for tuning in. We're slowly but surely growing. I believe, I'm not sure if the super chat is set up or not. But thanks to you all, it should be hopefully by next week. But the show is growing. And again, I appreciate it. This is a lot of work it takes, and again, it's fun work though, I should say, just to talk Colorado Buffaloes football, which, if I don't share it with you all, my wife has to hear it. My boys got to hear it. So, now she gets to hear me. I guess she probably gets to hear it twice a day, just about. So, about my thoughts and everything going on, but I do appreciate you all. As always, make sure you follow me on X at Manny_303, Instagram at 303_Manny. Any one of those major podcast platforms, you can follow me there. And again, like Travis Hunter, or Heisman Trophy winning Travis Hunter said, "Go Buffs, baby!" And we'll catch you guys tomorrow, live post game, probably about 30 minutes after the game when we can get back to the car. So really do appreciate you guys. Have a great Friday, and man, let's get this dub tomorrow, and hopefully the Buffs eat tomorrow. Have a good evening. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.